tremendous honor, an absolute honor to be sitting here with Miss Dorothy-Inez. I remember a few months ago that she shared with me this journey that she was going to go on as to co-author this book. And we've had lots and lots of private conversations, late night conversations, early morning conversations, and just to see the growth and the transformation that has been taking place the last few months with her. And so I'm just, again, tremendously honored to be sitting next to an international best-selling author right here, right now. And so what I wanted to do with this interview, although I know that majority of everyone here is friends, close friends, families, and associates, and even business associates, I wanted to be able to utilize this opportunity to interview Ms. Dorothy-Inez, to really have you get to know who she really is and her journey and how she got to this point and why we're all here celebrating today this tremendous honor of her being an international best-selling author. So thank you for allowing me to sit with you and doing this exclusive interview with you.
I wouldn't have it any other way than to have my dear sister, Teresa Springer, join me in this, really fabulous day, because just both she and I are in this massive growth together, and so I wouldn't have had it any other way. So thank you, Teresa, and thank you to your team, and a special thanks to my team that's been here helping me today to get it all set up. Zanita McKee, Lady Jazz. I appreciate my sisters, my husband Todd, and Steve McKee back there in the back. Thank you all for coming and helping and just making this real special today.
So we just wanted to make this very comfortable, not as formal. We just want to sit and have a dialogue and a conversation together just to get inside Dorothy-Inez's heart and in her mind and her thoughts, and for her to be able to share that with us. So let me ask this first question. How does it feel, Ms. Dorothy-Inez, to be an international best-selling author?
It actually feels pretty phenomenal. I went into this project at the beginning of the year. I had actually contacted another woman who does books. She puts together these compilations. What are they? I can't remember exact. Anthologies is the word. She puts these together, and she had given me this astronomical price, and I was like, oh no, I can't do it. I had put, writing a book on my list, and within a week of saying no to this other project, a dear friend of mine got me involved in this one, and it's just been amazing. I had this chapter sitting around. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, and I just expected to have a book. I didn't expect that I would become an international best-selling author, and that's just, for me, that's just how good God is. He just like gives you things that you don't even expect, and so this is one of those moments.
So I have to ask you, what were you doing at that exact time when you found out that this was an international best-selling book? What were you doing?
And Teresa, you know what I was doing. I was on Facebook. That's what I was doing. There was 29 of us authors in the book. Excuse me, I'm still a little sick, so I'm blessed that I have my voice today for you guys. But there's 29 of us, and we got on this campaign. We were in Europe, we had authors all across the U.S., we had in the Bahamas, we had Australia, all over the country, in the world. We were posting about this book on Facebook, and Facebook literally is what helped take this book to #1 on 4 charts on Amazon.
Wow, so it's a collaborative effort.
Very collaborative.
Everyone coming together.
Yes.
So you mentioned that a dear friend got you involved in this project. Was this something that you had been yearning to want to do as far as being a part of a book or collaborative effort in a book?
My actual dream is to have my own book, and but this was the beginning. This was a story that I had put out there and never had the opportunity to publish it. And just one thing I want to say about that is that when you share your dreams with other people, that helps it to become a reality, because then your friends are on the lookout for you. And that's what happened with this book, is that I had shared with my dear friend Catrice that I'm interested in being a book. One of my goals this year is to be an author, and I put it out there, and like I said, within a week that dream was in motion. So share your dreams with your friends, the right friends, not the naysayers, but the right friends.
So you mentioned there was 29 ladies that collaborated on this book. I have to ask you this. How was it working with other ladies collaborating and coming together? Because sometimes when there's too many cooks in the kitchen, things can kind of go different. How was it collaborating with all of these women? Are you still in communication today as well with all these women?
Good question. So you guys would expect me to say some drama, right? And it actually was such a phenomenal situation. The woman, Christine Marmoy, who put the book together, did an amazing job of choosing the women to be in the book. And the other piece, I think, that helped create that synergy was that we recommended friends to the book. So it wasn't just her going out and finding all these women. It was like Catrice found me and she recommended me, and then I found somebody and recommended. So we all were working with like-minded individuals, and we really partnered. We had the same spirit of wanting to give, to serve, and to inspire every woman that read the book.
Was it all glitz and glamour putting this together?
Now, you know, anything that involves me is about glamour.
It is, yes.
Did y'all see the cover?
Look at that.
Yeah, because she has a new book coming out, and the cover was not that cute, and just on the cover alone, I would say no.
So take us behind, though. Take us behind the scenes on just kind of what it took to really make this happen.
To make this happen, especially with 29 women, was very impressive because Christine, who put the book together, she actually had a team that was working behind the scenes. They put together all the graphics. They put together all the posts for us. So that made our lives simple. The timeline, how, you know, when we needed to do what, when the emails needed to go out. A lot of communication. The most difficult and challenging piece to it was that a lot of us wanted to talk. And can you imagine coordinating all those time zones? I mean, internationally. So that didn't happen. So I would say that was the only frustrating part, is I never got to talk and ask some of my questions. But in spite of the confusion that we did sometimes experience, everyone maintained a really great heart. And when it was time to launch that book, that's when you really learn about people. When we launched that book, we all came together. And I tell you, our group for the book, it was like wildfire, and everybody was posting what's going on. And we were all just like 9 hours straight on Facebook, getting up at 8 in the morning and doing it all the way. And actually, it's probably more than 9 hours, because I was doing it till like 9 o'clock at night. So what is that? How many hours is that? That's a lot of hours. 13 hours? Yeah, of working. And you think it kept going. And then there were some of us that just took initiative to monitor Amazon, because in order to get that bestseller status, you have to capture a screen print. And so we just all worked together to make sure that was captured. So it was phenomenal.
And so you're in contact with all of the women today?
Yes, we do have a private Facebook group, and in fact, they have an event that we're going to be doing over in Europe that the woman who compiled it, Christine Marmoy, she's put together over in Spain, and it's like a retreat for all of us to go over and get to know each other. And then we want to do an event that we bring here to the U.S. called Success in High Heels. So there's some big plans still around that.
More celebration.
Yes.
So tell us what you learned. You know, give us some key points of what you learned in putting this together and collaborating, and, you know, even having to sit still and put your thoughts on paper to even get it to even to this point.
Well, as many of you know, because many of you are my friends in this room, I like to talk. And it is very hard for me to sit down and write, and I think that was the most challenging thing. And I have this little issue about trying to do things perfect, And would my chapter be as good as the next person's? And how many of you know as women we tend to do that, compare ourselves to other women? And the truth is we just need to be who we are, because God has given us a message, a unique message only we can deliver. And that's what I had to come back to. That's what writing this book really brought me to, was not to compare myself to any of those other women, but to just be me and to share the message that I've been given to give. And so that was, I think, the most valuable gift, and to not compare and to just really admire those other women and cherish them and what they brought, because this book is so informative. Just sitting down at, every now and then reading another woman's chapter and her story, because we each went in with the intention to inspire. As I wrote my story for you, as I said, does this story inspire? And I really hope when you read it that it does inspire you.
So, of course, I have read your section, and along with some of the other ladies that wrote their book. And in here, you lay out some steps. And I'm not going to reveal everything, but you laid out some steps in your book. And I come to believe, because I know you, that the steps that you laid out are based upon experience. And so if you don't mind to share with us, where did these steps come from? Did you have dark moments to where you needed to put these together to get you through? And so that if you can elaborate and share with us on those steps.
No, there were no dark moments. These all came from the light. As many of you who have come to see me speak, my story starts, well, way before the piece I'm going to tell you now, but my story to become the minister of beauty, to really get out into the world with my gifts, started when my husband went to Iraq. Was it Iraq, Todd? You went to? Okay. My husband went to Iraq in 2010. And how many of you know, as wives, as mothers, we can tend to lose ourselves and forget who we are? Can you guys relate to that? Well, in my younger days, I was always one of those women who I could go, when I got lonely or the boyfriend broke up with me, I could go to the next boyfriend and get another one. I didn't really have to deal with myself. I didn't have to deal with being lonely. Well, this was the first time I had ever been alone, and I couldn't go get another boyfriend. I had a husband now. And so Todd, he'd been gone for like a week, and I found myself laying on this bed in Savannah. I was all by myself. I had just moved there, didn't have any friends, and all there was me. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what to do with myself. And I laid out on that bed, and literally, and believe me when I say, I laid on my bed in the fetal position, actually the spare bedroom, in the fetal position, looking out the window. And I get kind of emotional, so I told Teresa, I might have to cut this part. But I was just there crying for hours and hours for my mom, for my dad, and for my grandmother, because my grandma, she's it for me. And it was in that moment that I realized I had lost me, and I didn't know who I was. And so after all those hours of crying, I do what most of us women do, dust my shoulders off, and I got up out of that bed determined more than ever that I was going to, I'd been hesitating, finding a coach. I was like, oh, it's too expensive. How many of you let money keep you from going for your dreams, right? And I had been doing that. And I just said, whatever it takes, if I have to work more hours at Mac, because I was working at Mac, if I have to go sell stuff out in my garage on Craigslist, it was by any means necessary that I was going to grow and use this 1 year of time I had to myself to become the woman God had called me to be. And so I got a coach, and I thought, oh, I'm going to start my image consulting business. I'm going to help women. No. My coach was like, after two sessions, which was 2 weeks, she was like, no, Dorothy-Inez, you cannot help anybody because you have to help yourself first. And I was like, okay, it's only going to take 2 weeks, right? No. 6 months later, we are still coaching about me. And I literally went off on her because I was like, we're supposed to be coaching on business and we're coaching about me. But the truth is, I couldn't help you until I had helped myself. And so that's where, excuse me, the step reconnect in my book, where I talk about the importance of reconnecting. We have to reconnect to who we are, who God says we are. We have to connect to God, because without that connection, you don't know what you're called to do. You'll just be like how I was. It's like, I always say, running like a hamster on the wheel and just going and going and going and getting nowhere. And so that's where reconnect comes in. And then it's important to restore who you are. When you restore who you are, then you truly show up in your beauty and your brand. Because whether you're a business or you're an employee, you're a mom, whatever it is, you have a brand, and that brand is you. And how you show up all begins from the inside. Many people think, oh, I'm just about the outside because I'm a makeup artist. But the truth is that beauty starts here. And what I do with my work is to help bring that forth. It's like I look at you as a canvas, and it's a way of communicating. So that's just where, for me, it started, was that day in Savannah, Georgia, and my life just transformed. My friends, the Rashads, they're here in the house, and they've been with me through the whole journey, all the way from South Carolina. Then they came, and now they're here on the West Coast, and they're leaving me, but they've seen me go through this. And they've been there, and so it hasn't been easy. A lot of tears it takes to get up here and to achieve your goals. A lot of networking, wonderful friendships, having the right people in your circle is what it takes. Because if you have a lot of naysayers, you just won't get there. Trust me when I say that.
So that leads me into asking you then, when you made that decision to get a coach, when you made that decision to leave corporate America and to do you, if you don't mind sharing, at what age were you and who were the naysayers? Did you have a lot of naysayers that said that, no, not this direction, not this way?
Good question. So I left the corporate world when I know you guys think I'm 25, but when I was 40, and that was 7 years ago, I left the corporate world. I set my path that at 38, I listened to Les Brown. How many of you know Les Brown, motivational speaker? That is my man. Les, I managed sales teams and service teams, and I would play for them this Les Brown video called This Is Your Decade. And I played that for every team, but never did I hear that message for myself. I just thought it was for everybody else. And one day it clicked when I was 30, this is your decade. Back then I was just Inez. Don't slip up and call me Inez, okay? Just make sure. Dorothy-Inez. But, I heard it for myself. I went back to college and I said, I'm going to finally complete that bachelor's degree. I don't know how many of you start stuff and don't complete it, but that was my history, is I started and never completed things. And so I completed that degree. I left the corporate, started my life in beauty, and of course, military spouse, we moved. And I moved to South Carolina, got my dream job at Mac, been there 2 months, what happened? We moved. Then I went to Kansas to get the job at Mac. They were like, oh, we never get openings, we never get openings. But guess what? They had an opening for Dorothy-Inez. And for 2 years, I drove an hour, sometimes 2-3 hours, trying to build myself in Kansas, which was, as my friends the Rashads know, that was hell for me. It was awful for me. But I was so determined. I could have chosen, I could have said in that moment, oh, this isn't for me. I'm not going to do this. Oh, that's too much work. It's too far. But that's not what I did. Is I drove, I did what it took, and then I went to Savannah and I took off even more. But that was about the inner work, and once I did the inner work, then God took me even more. And then I come here, and every single woman in my circle is a God-fearing, loving woman. I have the most amazing women in my life right now that now we're getting out of the Army, and guess what? I'm not moving, I'm staying. Because I just have an amazing circle of women and friends here, so it's been awesome.
But let's go back to those
Did I miss something?
Yeah, I want to touch on that. And the reason why is because I think a lot of us experience, we represent all different age groups and all different levels in our life, and we're at different growth levels. And I think it's important to share with individuals some of the trials and the struggles that you went through so that it helps pull us through. That it's not, it doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter your circumstance, it doesn't matter if you move, you can still make things happen. And we have those that are within our circle that are for us, and then we have individuals that are in our circle that are not for us.
Yes. And on the against us, because I didn't have a lot of people for me in the beginning, especially my family, and that was very hard. Because I'm a daddy's girl, and my father, he didn't support me. But when you don't have the support of family, what I've learned is you find your family. You find the people that are going to support you, that are going to uplift you. I had so many that, you know, even to this day, they doubt. And I can't wait to send my dad this video so he can see that it was for real. Because I did invite him and he couldn't come, so I didn't get upset. I'm over that. That was all the coaching. But that was a real hard thing to go through when you really need you feel like you need your family. And to not give up, because so many times I'll tell you I want to give up. But it is the call that is deeper than being famous, that's deeper than, you know, being a celebrity or known by anybody. It is the call that I have within me for God that keeps me going. And that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, it's all about inspiring each one of you women in here. If you're a mother, you're a wife, you're somebody who's been sitting at home and you thought, oh, I'm too old, I can't do this. Or, you know, it's too late. No, it's not. You can do whatever you want to do, no matter what your age is. It just doesn't matter. And I'm here to tell you can do it. Just get the right people behind you saying that you can. And if you have to get rid of some people, I had to get rid of some people. In my family, I had to stop communicating with them for a while. You have to do what you have to do to get your message out there, because that message comes from on high. And you do yourself and the world a disfavor, a disservice, by not bringing your message forth.
And that's what I was going to ask you was, you know, we have a lot of individuals that are deciding to put things on hold for their children, on hold for their husband or their spouse, or they're just waiting for the right time. You know, what advice would you give them to, you know, to move forward and to really start making things happen in their life?
What I say to that is the time is now, because no one is promised tomorrow. So when you sit here waiting for tomorrow, you sit here waiting for, I'll do it when, I'll lose weight when. Every day you step, you walk, your life is an example to someone. And so I just say, don't wait. I just say, do it. I'm one of those people gets caught in fear. How many of you know what I'm talking about? We get caught in fear. And for my Christian folks out there, God has not given us a spirit of fear, And that's the verse I call on all the time, because if that fear comes in, that's not of him, so I just step in and do it anyway. So that's what I would say to you is don't be afraid, and because there's so many people that you have to touch, and each time you say put it off, those are people you missed that you were supposed to touch. So
very good. So I'm gonna flip it a little bit, because now we're going to take it because you are a businesswoman as well.
yes.
So tell me how being a part of this project, now being an international best-selling author, how this has helped you, assisted you as it relates to your business.
Well, it assisted me in speaking at the fabulous Spotlight on Success Summit with Teresa Springer at DeVry University last week. It gives you credibility when you're in a book. People, they want it when you go and you do a speaking engagement. For those of you that are entrepreneurs, you do a speaking engagement, people want to take a little piece of you home. So it does that. It gives you a product to build residual income, something you can sell in your, from your website information. So, and it's really, this being a collaborative effort, gives me exposure to 29 other women. So that's very powerful to be a part of a collaboration like this versus if you were to do your own book and it's just you. So that's why my next project is to tell my story, because I have a lot, as you guys, again, I like to talk. So I don't like to write, but I like to talk. So.
Which leads me into saying that I think we all have a story. And I think at some point, I think the audience here, I think we represent a large sum here that would love to be a published author. So what advice would you give to those that are in attendance, those that will be watching later, to get their story out there?
I would say just start writing. And like I said, I had written my story, I'd say 3 years ago, 4 years ago, is to just start writing. And that's the advice that authors that give me, who actually have their own, like the whole book, is just little by little. You're not going to sit down and write a whole book in one sitting. So just start somewhere, wherever you're inspired to start. Doesn't mean you have to start systematically from the beginning. Like my sister, she's also working to be an author, and I encouraged her, start writing, and she just got into it. And you'll find that as soon as you start doing something, it just starts flowing. So that's what I would say.
So what's next for you?
Well, I'm going to start doing some workshops here in town, more speaking, bringing out more of the inner beauty is what you'll see. If you haven't noticed, that's like really what it's all about for me, is the inner beauty. And so continuing, like some of you have attended my Madly in Love with Me event, I'm going to have some other events. I'll keep hosting my show with my girls in the back, Talina Lachey and Michelle. We do Wake Up Girl Radio. We're going to be bringing forth some really amazing content, continuing to work with Teresa Springer. There's just a lot. I mean, this has really opened up a lot of doors of collaboration with other women who see the power and the value of the work that I'm doing for women. So there's just so much coming up. Kamei, I'm going to be working with her and some teen girls on their beauty. So there's just so many possibilities when you start getting yourself out there and just stepping into your spotlight and getting your message out there.
So I'm gonna start closing up, but I want you to share with us all what's your personal mission.
My personal mission is real simple, and that it is to help every woman, understand and get that she is a masterpiece. She is a masterpiece from God, inside and out. There is no other woman like you. And that is the greatest thing. It's like when you stand in your business, there's no one else like you, so you don't need to compete. If you do, like I was telling some ladies yesterday, you do a direct sales business and so-and-so selling It Works and you're selling It Works, or your motives and your who cares? Because people are attracted to you. You are what makes the product different. So that's what I want to bring forth to women, is that you really get that, because when you embrace what I call the masterpiece mindset, that there is only one of a kind you, your whole life can transform.
And in closing, what's the day in the life of Dorothy-Inez? What does your typical day look like?
Now, Teresa.
Is it with the F word?
It could be an F word. Yes, I do a lot of marketing on Facebook. Facebook is my friend. I have met so many people from around the world on that Facebook, and just showing who I am. I mean, I just cannot tell you how many opportunities open up for that. It also involves spending time with God. For, again, my friends who know me, y'all know I love to sing, so it's about praise and worship all day long for me, and dancing. I had my husband in there last week. I made him jump around with me in the living room because it shifts your energy when you're singing. You're dancing, you're moving, because as entrepreneurs, we're at home a lot. And we sometimes don't get contact with people, and that Facebook is sometimes my lifeline. And so, yeah, it's God, Facebook, singing, and my husband, and my 3 dogs.
So it has definitely been a tremendous honor. Again, we've shared a lot of private times together, and I know a lot. And again, you're an amazing, amazing woman. And you yourself are a masterpiece, and you offer, contribute so much to society, to your community, to your family, to your close friends. And I want to publicly say that I adore you, I love you, I honor you, and I'm just tremendously honored to be a part of everything that you got going on. And what I want to do is, we're here celebrating your success in high heels. Now, what would you like for everyone to do to stay connected with you professionally? Because I want to bring this up professionally, because again, we're here, we're putting this out there, we want to support you. How can we support you?
How you can support me is, I have books here. I'd like to share my books with you. I do have those on special offer today for $16. Also, connect with me where? Facebook, there you are. On Facebook, and also on my website at www.Dorothy-Inez, and just share what I'm doing with people. That's the most important and valuable thing we can do for each other, is share the work that each other is doing. And that would be it, is just really support and let me know, because it's not just about me. It's about how can I support you. If I don't know you have an event going on, or you have a book coming out, I can't support you. But all you have to do is let me know, and I will be there to support you.
Mr. Blue Sill.
My wonderful Blue.
How you doing, Denise? My question is, how many more books are we going to see?
Good question, Blue.
Does this inspire you to write more?
I think so, because the more I'm learning, the more I'm growing, more information is being downloaded into me. Like I said, I'm called to share my story, so that's one. And then the more information that I learn, I'm about to start my, God willing, I get accepted into my master's program this fall. That I know is going to inspire me to write more, because it's going to take me deeper into my spiritual work. So I don't know how many, I would say at least 2.
And then my last question is, Todd, can I give this woman a hug? Hi, Miss Arvella.
Hello, my sister.
Hey.
I'm so excited for you. I do have a question for you, though. Now that you've got so many things on your plate right now, how do you balance it all?
Very, very, very good question. That has been a challenge, keeping it real. It is not an easy thing for me. Sometimes I go around and I shouldn't claim it, but I'm like, oh, I have ADD. I have some. You know how it is, you go to the kitchen, you start working on the dishes, then you go to the room, and then start this and that, and Teresa, you relate. But one thing I have learned from my sister here, and it's annoying, but if you're around Teresa Springer too long, you will notice that her phone is constantly buzzing with reminders here and there. Her phone is constantly ding, 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 and that's what I had to do, is I had to schedule reminders in my phone, put things down on the calendar, because otherwise I won't have it. I use 2 apps that to keep me organized, and now I've incorporated paper because I'm about to start doing more workshops and things to help women know, I want you all to be empowered around your beauty, so more workshops coming, so it's just going to be getting busier, so I really have to be organized and have systems in place. Oh, threat.
How you doing, Dorothy-Inez?
Oh, I'm doing great. I couldn't help myself.
I'm just clearly. What I want to know is what 2 apps did you download for your time scheduling and all that?
If I had my phone here, one is called Minders. Oh my goodness, the Google. I know one is my Google Calendar. That is the #1 that I use, and the other one I want to say it's called Minders. I see it's like a little bow on the finger, but I can tell it to you one-on-one.
No doubt.
But yeah, that one is really good because it just pops up. It gives me the little sound like the airplane, when you ding the lady to come and help you. Ding! My husband's like, what is that? That's a reminder. It's telling me I gotta, do my 40-day soul fast, do my Bible study. So yeah, it really does help to have those. Thank you for that question. Threat.
So I wanted to say something.
Yes.
Although this day is about you, it's all about you, I definitely want to recognize your husband, Todd, because he is you as an amazing individual have to be backed by an amazing man, and to really be able to support you and encourage you and to be there. And so I want to publicly put it out there, Todd, that you're amazing.
Yes.
You are absolutely amazing. As being an entrepreneur and having multiple things going on, that sometimes it appears as if we don't know what we're doing, or that we've got too much going on, or is it making sense? But know this, you have a very strong woman, wife right here, that she's being led by the Father. And so with that, her journey is being directed, guided, and instructed. And so, again, it's amazing. All that you've done, it is absolutely amazing. And so we look forward to many, many more. I look forward to the many late nights, early mornings with you, and to hear of all the success that you have in your life and continued success that you have in your life. And so I want to, put it out there again that this is her day. This is about her. And so honor her. One, by continually supporting her, yes, on Facebook. When she puts things out there, take the opportunity to see what she's putting out there, and then to respond, because your response means a tremendous amount to her. And so interact with her, stay connected with her. She has lots and lots of wisdom. I've learned so much from her. Just in terms of me in general, I myself prayed to the Father that He would send me individuals into my life, because I was so focused on business. I didn't have a personal life. And so He sent her to me a year ago. And through my relationship with you, it has tremendously transformed my personal life, because I yearned for that. And you have definitely filled a void for me. And the fact that you only live 8 minutes away, go figure. It's just amazing. And so again, it's just to be able to see all of what's transpired in a year's time, and even in a few months. And so you have tremendously affected my life for the better and forever. And so again, I put it out there that I will continually have your back and support you and be there for you. because I know your heart. I know who you are. And so, again, I want to put this out there. This is her day. Honor her. Grab her book. Read her chapter. Read the other woman's chapters. It's phenomenal because she doesn't speak just to the outside of you. She speaks to the real you, which is the inside of you. That's the real you. And so, again, I love you.
Thank you.
So that right there deserves a toast.
I got that. Here you go.
Very nice, very nice.
The line.
I hope you all are having a good time. I know I'm running 18 minutes behind schedule, and I want to thank you, hey! I want to thank you for bearing with me, and thank you for all of you that purchased my book. I really, really, really appreciate that, and I really pray that each chapter, not just my chapter, blesses you. And come up here, Zanita. And my husband Todd, come up here. Lady Jazz, come up here. Steve, where are you? Steve, come up here. You. Come on up here. This is Zanita's fabulous husband. She says he looks like Richard Gere. What do you ladies think? I just want to call these people up here because these are the ones who work behind the scenes and they took the stress off of me. I cannot tell you how nice it is to say to your friends, I trust you and whatever you do, I'm fine with it because they know you so well. And I just can't say how much I value my husband who is there with me during all the times where I may not be so ministering of beauty. Sometimes minister some ugly, I'm going to keep it real. But, you know, he sticks by me. He's been with me through this whole vision of mine. And Lady Jazz, our late nights on the phone, collaborating, she, you know, just is fabulous. I love her. She's one of my first friends here in Tacoma and connected me to all these amazing women. Teresa Springer was her and Teresa, my first friends here. And Zanita, this is my little sister. I just love and adore this woman. This is the sweetest spirit. We got baptized together February 17th, and I just love her and her fabulous husband. They were my family when my husband was gone, and I don't know what I would have done without them, so thank you. So on that note, let's give it up for the success in high heels and to your success, because all of you are going to be successful in whatever you choose to do, right? Here? Yeah.
Success!
Yes.
In high heels. Very good.
These are for you.
Woo.
Thank you. We're so proud of you. We love you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Okay, so Lady Jazz is going to cut the cake and come on up.
I don't know, you want me to multitask? So I know you want one of these fancy high heels. You want one of these high heels, I know.
You can give us the music.